It is official, like a referee whistle. That's right. Football season is here. We are 3 days away from the first NFL game being played, Chiefs versus Ravens. We even have a Friday night game, or a Friday game rather, this week. And the 49ers play in just 1 week's time, which means this is the first official practice week for the NFL regular season. And Trent Williams isn't here. So that definitely has to be discussed. Plus, we have the first football related update when it comes to Ricky Pearsall. We're going to talk about those things, plus more, next. All right. Welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. And it's Monday night, which means I got my guy, Coach, in the building. What's up, Coach?
What's good, Jess? We're here, man. The season has started. We are never bereft of news, shock and awe, and still have fish to fry. So let's get to it, man. Ready to start the show, but excited that the season is here mostly.
Happy Labor Day. I'm excited too. Yeah, happy Labor Day. And also, look, I know Trent Williams isn't here, but as Hendy points out, I mean, hello, Brandon Parker's back. So we should be good to go. Totally good to go. We don't need Trent Williams. Totally fine. Things are going to be fine. Yeah, exactly. It's over. Well, I know that you and I took a similar approach when it came to the whole Ricky Pearsall situation. It's an approach that we felt was best for each one of us individually. Which was not to really talk about it other than send our thoughts and prayers. There were so many things that were happening, so many rumors, and it just, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, it didn't feel right to monetize off the situation. It's not football related. This is a young man who was in some real life trouble, and it was concerning. It was worrying. I'm glad he's okay, relatively okay. He's out of the hospital now. But we finally have football implications when it comes to Ricky Pearsall, which is he is on the PUP list, the non-football related injury PUP list, which means for sure he's going to miss the first 4 weeks of the season. I don't think this is a big surprise, by the way. I mean, this just happened a couple of days ago. The season happens to be starting this week. But overall, what are your thoughts on the Pearsall situation, and mostly in how it relates to football?
I'm grateful. Jesse, I've worked in security for over a decade. Jesse, you know this. I have my own physical security firm based out of DC. And I've had the unfortunate situation of being in a lot of scenarios where you could have lost your life. Gunplay it was involved. And look, you can critique it now that you know, but if you've ever been in a situation like that, the number one thing that you're hoping for is just, is he alive? Like, is he okay? That's it. Not what was he doing? Who was after? That guy should pay. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you've ever had a family member or somebody in a situation like that, the last thing you're thinking about is revenge if you don't know if your loved one is in the balance or not. You know what I mean? And now that we do know real information, right? We know that Ricky Pearsall's first words to the first responder were, "Am I going to die? You know, am I going to be okay?" So if the man himself is in question, then everybody should be shutting the fuck up. You know, it's just something that you don't play with. It's about respect. And I feel like those who had real news to reported that news. But as far as content creation is concerned, this is like officially like out of our depth. This is out of our depth. This is real. This has nothing to do with football. This has nothing to do with opinion. This has nothing to do with narrative, any type of take, any type of reporting on what other people have said. It should just, there's barriers, right? So that's what I feel like me and you have taken that step, and, we're going to continue to take that step. These guys are living and breathing human beings like we, this is beyond, this YouTube shit, to quite frankly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It just, I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. I'm a father, so I'll use a father word. Like when dads have little kids and they say they're going to use the restroom, they inevitably say they're going to use the potty. I'll just say this felt icky. You know what I mean? It felt icky to talk about. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from on it. That was me personally. I think that was you as well. We took a similar approach, but I will say this, just kind of looking, and every injury is different. What I will say is, knowing that he's out for the first 4 weeks, not a surprise. I think there is an opportunity that he might be able to resume his career this year, which I think is an encouraging thing. Last thing on anybody's mind when this happened, but now that we know he's out of the hospital, no vital organs were hit, nothing been reported as far as any major injuries other than, heel time from getting literally shot. So there might be a chance that he can play. And I know that in a football sense, Ricky Pearsall's as a draft pick and a prospect, I have critiqued. I don't know how this doesn't instantly become like the best story in the world when he finally makes his return to the field. First time in a 49er uniform playing real football. That's going to be a very, very special moment. And I hope for his sake, he gets to live out that moment this season and do what he does, which is play football, live out his dream. And, I think he's a really good person. And it's scary to hear him say things like, am I going to die? And knowing that was said to the police officer, that's just sad. It's just really, really sad. You're talking about an individual who's 23, actually turns 24 the day that they kick off football this Monday. He'll be 24 years old, and you just don't want to hear that for anybody. So I'm glad that he's okay. The football implication is we now know that he's going to miss the first 4 weeks, and we'll see where it goes from there. But that's the update on Ricky Pearsall. And now that there is an actual football update, I felt like it was finally appropriate to address it here on this channel. So,
well, and I just like to close with my little 2 cents. I'm inclined to talk about another option that you and I actually have talked about, and that is, let's get him healthy. Right now we've got a shoulder that is already up in limbo. Whether or not it needs to be operated on. I mean, I feel like maybe a lot of the decision making on Ricky's shoulder was due to the fact that, man, we got to get this guy on the field. He's a first-round draft pick. We don't want the backlash from the fans. There's already a way we can bake him in. I mean, come on, man. Sometimes when life gives you lemons, you got to make lemonade. Maybe this is an opportunity to sit him down for the whole year. Like, maybe what if that shoulder does need a surgery? Let's go ahead and do that. Also, I want to talk about something else that I feel like is not being touched on. His recovery is not just physical, it's mental. There's trauma involved with a situation like that. I've been shot at. I've had to wrestle guns away from me. And I'm going to tell you right now, you feel grateful that you're out of it because it's a primal situation, right? It is primal. You are fighting for your life, right? And that person is fighting to kill you. And it does something to you where you got to go to work the next day. That's the worst part that I hated about issues is, yeah, you're going to make it home. You're going to do what you got to do to make it home, but you got to go right back to the same spot at the same time, and the same people going to be there, and mentally that wears on you. And you do get PTSD. You do get trauma from fighting for your life. If anybody's been in a situation where they had to fight for your life, it took you a minute, to kind of gather yourself. So even if he's physically, quote unquote, ready to go, as we football fans like to say, if he's not mentally there, I am A-okay with Ricky Pearsall saying, I'm not ready. I don't want to, I'm not in it right now. I'm not feeling it. I worked out the hardest that I have for my entire life for 6 months. Then I got drafted, went through multiple injuries here, finally made it through camp. And then this happens. And it's like, you know what? For what it's worth, I need a break. And you know what? I would not have any issue with that. So there's a side to this as well, where we got to worry about his mental health as well. It's not just getting him on the field to go catch passes and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess I didn't really take that into consideration. I've been in an unfortunate situation twice in my life where I've also had guns pointed at me, but I was much younger, and I didn't have to return to the scene of the crime, I guess. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
For me, I didn't really take that into consideration either. But that's a real thing. And I think at the very least, like, if he decides he wants to have shoulder surgery and not play this year, there's literally no pressure on Ricky Pearsall or the 49ers for him to play football this year. And I think that's the beautiful thing that comes from this real life situation. And I think that's something that should be considered. Now, that doesn't also, he may be of the mindset where he wants to play more than ever. And that's okay too. That's up to him as a person. But I don't think there is going to be any pressure from anybody that actually cares about the situation to get Ricky Pearsall on the football field this year. That's the least of anybody's concerns. And when he does decide to play and is able to play, whether that's this year or next year, what have you, he'll get the best ovation in the world, I hope. So that's real. That is a part of it. And we'll see. Take it as slow as you need to, whether that's getting the shoulder operated on now, whether that's just healing from this and trying to play this year, whatever that may be. All opportunities are now at your disposal with zero pressure.
Yeah. It's time for us to show him what type of organization we are, not the other way around.
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Okay, well, I have super chats, but I can't get to them for some reason. I don't know why this isn't starring, but I'll try to scroll up and get to them real quick. I love it when StreamYard just does weird things for no reason. Brother Bob says $1.50 for Coach and 50 cents for Jesse. Fair, I guess. I don't, your money, you can do with it what you want.
So who did he short, me or you? Because it's $1.99.
Oh yeah, I'll go with me getting 49 cents. Murray, what's up, Murray? Says, for the life of me, I cannot understand why BA was the priority signing. It makes no sense when our O-line was ready. Already had a big problem. We are underestimating the Jets. What if Trent just retires? Oh, we're gonna talk about that, and that's a real thing too. I think it's a possibility, not a big one, but I do think it is a possibility. Gammon says $1 for each Coach and Jesse. I believe in equality. Thanks, Gavin. I appreciate it. Steve-O says, thoughts on Lowell's article. I didn't read his article, so I'm not sure what he's referring to. Do you have any idea what he's talking about?
I saw a screenshot of it. Lowell has a what's the name of that app? It's a Subs, yeah. And in his Substack, I believe he wrote an article about Kyle being at the party while Ricky Pearsall was in the hospital. And he went at him. I didn't read it though, but I saw the headline of it. So I have to read it, Steve-O.
Yeah, I haven't read it, so not gonna comment on it. But I will now. Now that you've said something, I will definitely read it. Brother Bob says Jesse gets less for his Graham take and love. Duh. He's a Commander now. He's playing real football. All right. So, maybe he'll be really good. You don't know. You have no idea.
Where did Cam Latu get picked up at?
Cleveland. Yeah. He's not going to play. He sucks. No, just kidding. All right. Let's talk. Let's talk about record predictions. So the season's finally here. We all did this when the schedule came out, and it's fine and dandy to do it then. But now that the season's actually here, we know the temperature of this team. We know what injuries they work through in the offseason, and really they're relatively healthy, which is a really, really good thing for the 49ers. The worst thing in the world is when any team loses a player before you even start playing games. And the 49ers have been fortunate to not have any real long-term serious injuries entering the season. Now, they do have a couple that are carryover from the previous year. We'll see how that impacts them. We know Greenlaw will not play. Huff, we're still unsure about. But overall, we don't need to go game by game. But do you remember what your original prediction was for this team? And do you still have that same feeling now that the season is actually coming up this week? Do you feel the same about this team that you did months and months ago when you made a prediction record wise? We can go game by game if you really want to, too. It's up to you. But
I mean, I would love to go game by game because I think I had us going like 11-6.
Okay.
I had us going like 11-6.
Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So we've got Jets week 1, as you know.
Right.
What do you think? Win or loss there?
That's a win.
Okay. I agree. I'm also going to go with a win. Then we have the Vikings.
That's a win.
I agree. Then they are at the Rams. Keep in mind, throwing this out there, you may want to pick the Rams in this scenario. That's fair. But I'm going to be at the game, and I'm undefeated in the Shanahan era. So for whatever that's worth.
Okay. All right. So the Rams. With that information,
inside information, right?
That's crazy inside information. Like, I can't believe you said that shit on stream. You're kind of nuts.
That's what I'm saying. I know. I know.
Mean, slow down.
For those of you that are betting on this, I just, I feel like it's fair that I let you know. Yeah.
I got an L.
Okay. All right. Geez. Okay. You know what? I'm going to go with a win in this one. You have 1 loss. I have 0. Right. Patriots at 49ers. We both agree that's a win, right?
Yes, that's a dub.
Okay. Cardinals at 49ers. Do we both agree that's a win?
That's a dub.
Okay. 49ers at Seahawks. This is my first loss of the season.
That's an L for me too.
Okay. So you've got them at 2 losses. Chiefs at 49ers the week after. Or 10 days after, rather. Chiefs, I think, are coming off of a bye, though. So, believe it or not,
that's an L. That's an L.
Okay. I agree. Cowboys at 49ers, that's a win. We don't ever lose to the Cowboys. Yeah.
Fucking Cowboys. That's a dub.
49ers at Buccaneers. I'll also be in attendance. So, naturally, win, right?
I'll be in attendance for that game as well.
So naturally a win, right?
That's a dub. Okay, all right, dude. I'm not getting like tore up and pissy drunk on an L. Like, what?
Okay, so you've got them at 3 losses. I've got them at 2. Seahawks at 49ers the second time around. We're not losing to the Seahawks twice, so that's a win.
That's a dub. That's a dub.
Okay. 49ers at Packers.
That's an L.
I agree. Okay. 49ers at Bills the week after.
That is an L.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go with a win there. Yeah, I'm going to go with a win there. Okay. So you've got them at 5-3. Okay. Bears at 49ers.
That's a dub.
Okay. I agree. Rams in, Santa Clara.
That's a dub.
49ers.
It's a dub.
Okay. I've got them losing that one. So I have them splitting just like you do, but that one will be a loss because I'm not in attendance. Okay. 49ers at Miami playing the Dolphins.
That's a dub.
I agree. Lions at San Francisco.
That's a L.
Okay. I'll go L as well. The 49ers at Cardinals. That's a win, right?
That's a dub.
Okay. So we actually both feel the exact same way. You still got them at 6 losses, and I've got them at 5.
Yeah.
So And that's what we did many, many, many months ago. That's funny how it really hasn't changed that much at all.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the losses and wins changed, like as far as who they were playing, but the overall record stayed the same. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, let me ask this. Do they win the division with an 11-6 record?
I think they still pull it off.
Okay.
I think they still pull it off.
Okay.
They do good. I mean, I got them losing to the Bills, the Chiefs. Those are AFC teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it may hurt them to lose the Lions game, depending on what the Lions look like later in the season.
Yeah,
that may hurt them, but really, they're gonna do well in the division. I got them splitting with the Rams. I got us sweeping the Cardinals and splitting with the Seahawks.
That's fair. I think that's fair. 11-6, 12-5, I think is well within reason. Well within reason. So,
okay. I mean, and without Trent, throw this whole thing out the window.
Okay. Yeah. I agree.
Without Trent, okay. Do you want to do it without Trent?
No. I don't. I really would prefer not to. If they don't have Trent, they're going to lose this weekend. So let's just for starters, that's a loss. So this whole season shifts if that's the case, because I'm not buying the Jets brand. I'm not. I've said it all off season. I get it. They have a stacked roster, all the things.
Yeah, right.
I'm not buying their brand. I wouldn't be shocked if they missed the playoffs. Okay. But the roster's good enough that if Trent Williams doesn't play, that might be an L for the 49ers. That might be
but also, I would be scared of them if Hassan Reddick plays. But it doesn't look like he's going to play. Right. And, not for nothing, they got holes on their defense. And areas of that where we usually are weak, we kind of match up well with them. So,
we'll talk about it more in depth when we get there. But without Trent, this whole thing changes to me. I mean, they lost to teams that really weren't in their stratosphere without Trent. So I don't know. Trent's that big of a deal to me. He is.
They got to get it done. It's also too, it looks kind of crazy that they can get BA done and not get Trent done. You know what I mean? Like that looks crazy on their part. Like, what are we prioritizing here?
It does, but we're talking about two different situations. Let's say Trent's looking for 2 years fully guaranteed, and he wants to be highest paid offensive tackle in the league. So he wants pretty much close to $30 million a year. So he wants a pay raise, and he wants that fully guaranteed over 2 years. If for some reason he doesn't play next year and they've got a fully guaranteed contract, they are screwed cap wise. That's massive. And I think they have to consider it. I don't know that should be enough for them not to pull to do it. I almost said something that I shouldn't have said.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know what I mean? So for me, Trent's important, but I understand the him and Han if that's the case. If we are to believe the reports that he potentially wants 2 years fully guaranteed, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, I mean, those are reports that it's like, I think this is a speculated report, of course, but I believe they offered a full year and then a half full year for the next year, and he said no. Like full year, like for 1 year fully guaranteed, second year half guaranteed, and he said no. So I mean,
the problem is with that is we don't know how much money's involved. What if they're just trying to give him his same contract and make it fully guaranteed in half? What if they say, okay, we'll do half next year and full this year, but we're going to up this year another 7-8 million. That might be enough to get it done.
Yeah. I mean, you know why? I mean, that's cool, but I think that it's not going to get done unless it's just 2 straight up fully guaranteed years. And the only reason why is that this looks like a heist to me. That it's given smash and grab vibes. It really is. Like, the fact that he's towing such a hard line, like you would expect this type of energy if he was like at the end of a deal, right? This is kind of like a, hey, I want to stay in the league type situation. Like, yo, you're going to pay me guaranteed money to keep me here. I don't have to worry about getting kicked out of here. But the fact that he's doing this in the middle of a deal, it almost seems as if, because essentially Trent's got 3 years left, right? Counting this year. If he was naturally still in his deal, he has 3 years left, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
What it looks like Trent is trying to do is it looks like Trent is saying, like, I don't want to play for 3 more years. I'll give you 2. And for my time, I want it guaranteed. And I just want to be clean out of here. Like, quid pro quo. Like, you know, that's it. And in a way, if you just step back and look at what he's doing, it's not unprecedented, but it's very rare. He's saying, hey, pause. I want to stop right on the part where the deal gets sweet for you guys. I want to retroactively go back to where the deal gets sweet for me. And I want the time that I'm allotted contractually to be here. I want that lopped off by a year. I want that reduced by a year. It's like, where's the win for the Niners? It's like, so wait a minute. We paid you up front. That's what got you signed. All right. You waited right until the bitter end till it was time for us to finally start getting relief on our cap. That's why we signed this deal with you. And then now you're coming back and saying, oh, no. All of those years where now I get to play all of those short years from all of the big money that I got up front. No, I don't want that. I want you to redo it, give me guaranteed money. Oh, and by the way, the 3 years that you expected to have me, go ahead and reduce that by 1 year. The Niners, this is not a win for the Niners at all, contractually and like negotiation wise. Now, football wise, we get Trent, we get the best left tackle in the league. He gets back on the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, and K Sarah, like, it's, you know, everything's forgiven, you know, but for us as an organization, it looks like a lot of these guys they don't care about our future. They're almost kind of like, are you familiar with like a bust out? Have you ever heard of that term?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a bust out. Like, this is what this is. This is the Niners are in hock. All right. They can't pay their bills. So now we go into the business and we leverage the credit and we bust out your entire business until we eat it out from the inside out until there's nothing left, because you are so in hock to us that you're never going to see the principal. So now we take exactly what we need from you until there's nothing left. Like, that's what I feel like the players are doing to the organization now. They're tilted. They have no leverage. And the players are saying, well, hey, you need us. So I don't care what the price tag looks like. I don't care how old and ridiculous this money looks under my name. You need me. I'm leveraging this. And you're gonna pay me until I'm ready to go. And this is what the Trent Williams situation is replicating, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And I think that I think Marco brought up a really, really good point on his stream, which was the 49ers, the way that they handled the Eric Armstead situation. Really, they shouldn't be surprised by this. Players take notice, right? Players take notice and say, hold on, Eric Armstead was a captain of this team. He had done you favors in the past. He had rolled over his money. He had done what he needed to do to help you win football games financially many times over. And then you come to him and ask him to take a major pay cut. He says no, and you get rid of him. Well, Trent's like, I'm 36. I don't have any guaranteed money. You could do that to me at any time. If I get injured tomorrow, you just move on from me. I want guaranteed money. CMC did the exact same thing. And so that's like the price of doing business. As a team, sometimes you make moves like the Eric Armstead move, and you don't really forecast what it could do to the other players properly. And I think that's a little bit of what's happening here. I think it makes total sense. It doesn't mean the 49ers were wrong for moving on from Eric Armstead if that's what they felt they needed to do. But it shouldn't be any surprise to them that older players that don't have guaranteed money, come to them and knock on the door and want some guaranteed money because they don't want to be done in the same fashion. And so here we are, just a week away. Trent's still not here. I want to ask you this, though. Let's switch the conversation a little bit. At what point does Trent need to be here realistically for him to play this Monday, in your opinion?
He's got to be here no later than Thursday. So
practicing Thursday.
He's got to practice Thursday and Friday, right? Okay. So technically, he would have to be here. He would have to be here like on a preliminary basis. He would have to be here no later than Wednesday, because he would have to sign his deal and then go through a physical, right? So that all of that takes a day, right? Depending on when practice is. So he's going to miss Wednesday. So theoretically, he would be there Thursday and Friday. That would lock him in for the CBA and the Players Union. He practiced twice, so he can play. Okay. And then Saturday, they go through walkthrough, and Sunday pre-walkthrough, and then he'd be ready to play on Monday night. If he's not signed by Friday, he's not playing. This is it. This is D-Day. This is it. Like, if he's not signed by Friday, he's not. Because
if he's signed Friday, he still practices Friday, right? As assuming, and then a walkthrough Saturday. And even then, the coaches may say it's just too late. Like,
it's too late.
It's too late. You know what I mean? It's too late. The nice thing is, as an offensive tackle, you're not game planned for, right? Like you're not building a game plan for him to get the ball, but you are building a game plan based off him not being there and protecting Jalen Moore, who you don't want to necessarily run to that side, right? You don't necessarily want Brock Purdy to hold the ball and go into 7-step drops and do a bunch of play action, because now you've got two tackles potentially you can't trust in this game. So the game plan, I would assume, is being built now without Trent. And if you have Trent, great. And if not, they're building a game plan without him. And so, I think Trent getting into practices is a must. I think him practicing, if he doesn't practice Thursday, we basically can chalk it up and say he's probably not going to play week 1. And that's just what it is.
Yeah, I would say that's exactly where it stands right now. And, the ball's going to have to come out quick. They're going to get into like their whole short yardage package. They're going to be doing 3-step drops, 1-step drops, getting the ball out really quickly, helping the offensive line, moving the launch point, a lot of bootlegs, a lot of play actions, getting these guys moving, getting very creative with the run game, with literally everything, because you don't want, the last thing you want a defense to do is get a rhythm against a bad offensive line. So that's Kyle's number one job if Trent doesn't play, is not game planning for Brock, not making sure that BA gets ingratiated. His number one issue if Trent doesn't play is having a variety of attacks and methods to be able to keep this defense off their heels, because if they start pinning their ears back on this offensive line, it could get bad, right? So,
yeah, I agree. Brother Bob, I'm not reading that super chat. I'm not taking shots at other people on here. Gammon says, Bobbert, calm down. Greatness 54 says, hypothetical, let's say they start 2-0 or 3-0 without Trent Williams. Do you think the Niners tell him to retire or play? Thoughts? I still think that no matter what, they know that if they want to win a Super Bowl, Trent Williams needs to be a part of this team. So they'll continue to work out a deal. I hope we don't have to find out if they can go 1-0, 2-0, 3-0. That wouldn't be ideal, in my opinion. Let's try to figure it out before. But it definitely helps them a little bit, maybe in their decision making. If they're struggling to give him a full guarantee, maybe they decide not to, but I would hope not. Brother Bob says, hence why we should draft OTs equals leverage. Go ahead, coach.
I mean, I want to address that super chat. That's kind of dope. Like, what if we go like 3-0?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What if we beat the who do we had first 3 weeks? The Jets,
Vikings,
Rams. What if we go 3-0? And it's like, hey man, we got to groove.
How does it look though? What if
who cares how it looks?
It matters how it looks. Like what if the defense is carrying them and they're not able to put up a lot of points? Like they're scoring like 17 a game. They can't put up points. They can't sustain drives. Brock's getting hammered, but they're winning because the defense is winning them football games. Like
even better.
It matters. It matters.
No, but what I mean by that is even better is that that's still on Trent. Like the same way now, this plays too, Jesse. We got to be honest. The same way that that BA got, kind of like roasted by public opinion for being a diva, being selfish. Trent's kind of been able to stay away from that because he hasn't said anything, right? And nobody really questions his cachet as being like one of the best guys to do it, okay? But the season has started now. And that's one of the reasons why BA's deal got done is because it was starting to get real. It was like, hey, man, you ready to get these fines, man? Are you really ready to do this? Right? And I would say, look, I am from the greater Washington, D.C. area, people. I know Trent Williams is a savior to everybody here because he kind of came in out of nowhere, fit right in, hand in glove, and, we all love Trent, and I get it. I really do. But Trent being like this unquestionable leader, like the best of that storyline is here. Okay? That was not what he was looked at as in Washington. I'm here. Okay? He definitely has a lot of scar tissue from being a selfish player. And I'm going to tell you, let us start winning. Okay? Let us start winning without Trent. Okay? And if it starts looking like we're winning in spite of Trent, don't be 36 years old and then all of a sudden be sitting on your couch by October and the Niners are like, all right, man, you know what? We're 4-0, bro. Right? And at this stage of the game, we don't need it. You can take your fines. That's okay. But you haven't played football in almost a calendar year, and you're going to be 37. So what are we doing here? Like, and it's not as if we haven't given you offers. It's not like we're not negotiating at all, right? So are you willing to sit out on a Super Bowl winning team? Like, number one, that lets you know that all of that leadership that we put on Trent is out the window. Okay, that's dead. And secondly, it makes him a merc. It makes him Julian Peters. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, Peters, the tackle that was from that played almost like 40 years. Like, he's gonna be that guy now. It's like, all right, well, you're obviously open for hire. You don't care. All right. And good luck on your next team, right? Or keep getting these fines. You're literally in the middle of a 3-year deal. Keep getting these fines and we're winning in spite of you. Like, somebody's going to start chirping at Trent, Jesse. They are. Like, so, like, at what point does you being a leader or a captain come into play for all of this?
Yeah, but maybe it just doesn't matter. I mean, that's the hard part. This is what makes this really hard is we don't know where Trent's real mindset is at. Like, maybe it's as simple to him. He doesn't care about any of that. He doesn't care at all. He is fine with not playing football. And it's like, these are the demands, either meet them or I'm out. And if they come to him in week 4 and they're like, hey, we're undefeated, here we go. Like, now you want to play ball? And he's like, no, I don't want to play ball. That's literally what I said is I'm not playing ball. So good luck this season. I'm retired. Like that, who knows? But maybe it's not that. Maybe it's as simple as he wants some money, but he really does want to play. I don't know. We don't know where his mindset is at, but what we do know is in this moment, all that sounds great, but we're talking about a team that struggles to win without him. So if all of a sudden they start winning without him, that would not be the rule. That would be the exception, at least what we've seen so far. So I struggle to believe that we start 3-0 if Trent isn't playing in those games, but maybe they can. Still a lot of talent on this team. Gammon says we're about to find out how elite Brock's 10-yard split is. God, I hope not. William says, do we need a new GM and coach? I'm just wondering. No, it's not. I mean, there's so many things. It's so funny because it's like, and you're not saying this, William. I don't believe anyways. Maybe you are, but I feel like, anytime that Kyle's criticized or this organization's criticized, then the response is to go just completely overboard. It's like, oh, so they suck then. It's like, no, nobody said that. Just saying that they have a blind spot here, or they could improve there. There's a lot of things, a lot of moving pieces to an organization that they're responsible for. Yes, I think they could improve on getting deals done earlier. That then doesn't mean that they haven't built a really good roster, right? It's not if this, then that necessarily. Shady Luke says, game with 2 top 5 defenses, low scoring. Yeah, I think this game probably will be low scoring. I do believe that. And it looks like the betting lines have come down by 2 full points. The Jets were 5.5-point underdogs. Now they're down to 3.5. So the betting public seems to be in on the Jets with the points. But I think it's a low scoring game. I do. Especially Aaron Rodgers' first game back. Now, if Trent plays, I think the 49ers could actually score some points. So we'll see. Brother Bob says, BA got 45 million, 76 million guaranteed. Call me a diva. Yeah, I'll call me whatever for that kind of money. Shady Luke says, I think something that isn't being talked about is Trent's play on the back end of the season. He showed little signs of play not up to his standards. I agree with that. I think Coach and I did talk about that. He definitely didn't look like himself at times. This is coming from a Philly fan, by the way. But even 10% drop off for Trent Williams compared to Jalen Moore, they're not in the same stratosphere. So still give me Trent Williams with a 10% decline.
Okay, but in the games that matter, right, where it's hat on a hat, elite on elite, Trent did not look elite. We can say that. I feel like that's, I
agree.
A lot of people don't want to admit that, but go back and watch that Ravens game. Go back and watch the Super Bowl. Watch the playoffs and watch Trent in the playoffs. Watch him against Detroit, holding on for dear life. Them young boys was on him. So this is a very good comment, man. I mean, it's not, we got to not wonder, but we got to be realistic about what we're exactly giving guaranteed money for. He's not going to be great forever.
It's a good point. You're right. At some point, the drop off happens, and maybe that's what the 49ers are calculating that into this whole thing. It's like, we don't want to go fully guaranteed next year because we don't know what you're going to be this year or any of it. So that might be coming into play as well. Brother Bob said, and for what it's worth, the Ayuk situation, the reason for me that I was so hell bent on them paying Ayuk, especially this late, is that my whole thought process around Ayuk is he's a part of the future. So when this talent starts getting stripped away, he's the go-to guy. He's the future. He can help Brock Purdy continue to play at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
Trent Williams doesn't factor into any of that for me. And so, yes, I know that Trent Williams is right now the more important player. That's not debatable in my opinion. But this is also a short-term play, which means as much as I want them to go get Trent, I don't know that I'm pushing as hard for it because I understand the future ramifications this might have.
Yeah, like I'm with you. Look, God loves Trent. Awesome player. And he's the tip of the spear for what we do. I get it. But you should have finished your breakfast, bro. Like why didn't we draft a tackle? You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like this is just, and this isn't like, we haven't even played the season yet. So this isn't like revisionist history. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, now all of a sudden you want to change. No, man. All right, bro. It's just, He's in the right. He's got, like, we have no leverage. Like, remember how you explained to me, like, the difference? Like, Jesse, people don't understand this. Jesse, like, moonlights as a silent killer, people. So, like, he like fought BJJ and all types of stuff. Like, don't let Jesse fool you. Don't let all of the nice stuff fool you. He's a certified psycho. So me and Jesse were having this conversation one time about grappling. And remember when you were explaining to me the difference between having a core and not having a core, where you can roll with the 350-pound man who's got a soft middle but doesn't know how to use his core, and you'll just feel his body weight, but you can still maneuver if you're grappling with that guy, versus when you have a skilled 180-pound black belt who knows exactly how to take up all the space, and you literally cannot breathe with this person. And I feel like Trent is that 180-pound black belt. He has all the leverage. There is nowhere to move. We cannot breathe on this situation, and we're going to have to give him exactly what he wants.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. Way to take my I don't know, I guess my experience that I kind of told you about and turn it into this situation, because you're very right.
Yeah.
Trent Williams is the 180-pound black belt that's you didn't see coming from a mile away, and you should have. But yes, now that he's got you where he wants you, good luck getting out, because he's going to suffocate you. So Tap. I agree. Tap, Brother Bob says, sorry, coach, love you, but Purdy won't last without Trent. And then Samir says, hey, y'all, if you haven't already, feed the algorithm. So he's saying to hit the like button, subscribe, do all the things that help the algorithm. Appreciate you, Samir, as always. And then Dank says, how confident are you with BA against Sauce? Well, we're going to actually get into that in just a second. But before we do, I do want to take a moment to shout out the sponsor of the show, Underdog Fantasy. Link is in the description. It's also pinned to the top of the chat. Underdog Fantasy has all of your needs accounted for, whether that's over-unders, whether that's full year fantasy, daily fantasy. They've got you covered. And right now, if you use promo code LSS, they will give you a 50% deposit match up to $1,000, and you get one free pick. This week's free pick is Travis Kelce, 1 yard. That's it. So if you add him to any of your betting needs, you can add Travis Kelce in. He's your free pick, and it's pretty much a lock. Travis Kelce just needs 1 yard. Using promo code LSS will get you all of that. Thank you so much, Underdog, for being the sponsor of Last Second Sports for the 2024 season. All right, let's get into this Jets matchup. Dank brings up a really, really good point. We were talking about this before we went live, Coach. You were talking about BA and maybe the matchup versus the secondary. If it is BA versus Sauce, how confident are you in that matchup? And then what are some matchups you'll be looking for on Monday night?
Okay. So look, there's a couple of things that I like about our matchups. Let's go us on offense first, right? Let's go against their defense. Sauce versus BA is going to be the matchup, but that's almost like a game within a game. They're going to be on an island, and if Kyle is smart, he keeps them on an island. You figure out ways how to leverage Sauce with some combos, some smash combinations, and some stuff that really puts him in a bind with what they run on defense, because they run the same thing we do, palms. All right, they run cover 3 and they run palms. Mostly, they're more of a base front defense, but I like what we can do with them really on the ground. Okay. Right now, they got this edge, Michael Clemens. All right. And he's decent in run defense. But for what it's worth, I like Colton McKivitz going against Michael Clemens. He's the guy that I would run to versus run away from. Now, Jalen Moore just struggles against everybody. So it's not as if I want to give Will McDonald any type of credit for their starting edge against Jalen Moore. He may win, but the real issue is not McDonald getting off, but it's the one-on-one capability that he's going to have, because Jake Brindle and Aaron Banks are going to have their hands full with Quentin Williams. That's going to be the real matchup up front. Quinnen Williams versus Aaron Banks and Jake Brindle. And I'm saying Jake Brindle because you got to be smart. Quinnen Williams is not going to have any problems going against Aaron Banks by himself. That's for sure. So you might as well hang that up. One thing that I do like is they've got a guy, I don't know if you heard of him, Javon Kinlaw, playing D tackle for them. I don't know. Big kid, looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. That's what I've heard about him. But he's going to be starting at the others. He's going to be starting basically as the shade. And really he's going to be over our new shiny right guard, Dominic Pooney. I like that matchup. Dominic is physical. He flies off the ball. It's going to be the perfect, almost kind of like King Kong versus Godzilla matchup because they're both leading with the same thing, aggression. All right. I don't think that I would be I'll get worried with Dominic down the line once he starts seeing savvy vets, once he starts seeing savvy D linemen who know how to use that leverage and that aggression against him. But we'll see. But I like the matchup currently now between Javon Kinlaw and Dominic Pooney and Jermaine Johnson. Now, this is their X factor who I do think is going to be able to wreak some havoc. Quinnen Williams is going to be Quinnen Williams, right? That's almost not only up to Aaron Banks and Jake Brindle, but that's up to Kyle. Like, if you don't know that you got to coach around this guy, scheme around this guy, then what did you show up for? So that's one. But there is a guy on their defensive line that I am worried about. Jermaine Johnson. This kid is young, 6'5", 262 out of Florida State. And he's a live wire, man. He's fast. He can go from sideline to sideline. He's the type of guy that could chase things down from the backside if we kind of get held up on the front side on outside zone. He's also a guy that can really come from depth. Take his hand out of the dirt. On Colton McKibbitz, they bring those wide 9 splits on Colton McKibbitz to have defensive ends run straight at him to give him problems. I could see Jermaine Johnson fitting that role and wreaking havoc from the right side. So those are some of the matchups that I see, like as far as the offense versus the defensive line. Now for corners, Sauce, like we talked about, Sauce versus Ayuk is going to be something, but it might be a Debo day. I think that Debo can get off against DJ Reed. I really do. DJ Reed is a smaller guy, 5'9", 188, 4.5 speed guy. But for his pass rush grade and his pass defense grade is below par due to PFF standards. And I think that one thing that we will get out of this offense is that, we could talk about what we don't have, which is basically Trent, honestly. But we get an in-shape Debo. I think that Debo is going to really do good against DJ Reed. The best corner outside of Sauce Gardner, in my opinion, is going to be Michael Carter going against Juwan Jennings. I think that's going to be a wash. Juwan Jennings has his day cut out for him there. Linebacker-wise, though, I just think that there are some of all parts. It's like Quincy Williams and CJ Mosley. Two guys, they're fast, adequate, but they're not world beaters. Some guys that we can definitely get around. Now, out of everybody on their defense that I named, that I talked about, good or bad, there is one unit that can get taken advantage of. It's their safeties. They got some bad safeties. Okay. Tony Adams and Chuck Clark. All right. Chuck Clark is like 30 out of VTech, slow as hell. No instinct, no feel. 6th round guy, got drafted out of 2017, man. They found him off of the $5 CD bin in Walmart. Got him for, I don't know where they found him from.
I remember those. That's
you
great.
Remember the
Our
$5
record style. Hell yeah.
Come on, man. You remember the $5 bin, man. Got to get you some good old prayer jams or Veggie Tales. Tony Adams he's a jag. He's just a guy. Everything about him is
no. He's a jam. He's just a Mordecai. Remember that? That was built on this show. You and I, we don't call guys jags. They're not just a guy. They're jams. They're just a Mordecai.
That's just a Mordecai. He's a jam. Yeah. Just a Mordecai. These safeties are bad. bad. Okay. And that's really what I feel like Kyle should be going after. Like on offense, you can get caught up with trying to get mixed up with BA versus Sauce Gardner, or the run game versus Quentin Williams, or you can even let Jermaine Johnson and CJ Mosley and those boys pin their ears back and wreak havoc in the pass game. I mean, in the pass rush game. But really, sometimes you just got to have a theme of your attack. And the theme of the attack for Monday night should be going against those safeties. We should be going wide 9, making those safeties tackle. We should be going play action, going over their heads. We should be going using the seams. I mean, just attacking those safeties because they're just not good. It's the worst part of their defense, right?
Safeties, linebackers, and if Trent's not there, this bodes very well, right? Because it's funny, the way that Shanahan initially built this team was to attack linebackers. That's why Juice was such a big get for him as soon as he took over this team. Juice was one of the first guys he went and got. And it was obvious that getting Kittle, getting Juice, and then, you know, the next year signing McKinnon, that this was a team that wanted to attack linebackers and attack safeties. Well, guess what? Yes, they've got Ayuk. Yes, they've got Debo. But this team can still do all of those things because they still have Juice. They've added CMC. They've got Kittle. And if Trent doesn't play, you want to get the ball out quick. Well, how do you do that? Those are the players that you're looking to target. And those are the players that have the best matchups in this game. That I do love about this matchup versus the Jets.
I love it as well. I mean, offensively, the Jets on offense, there are some of our parts. I mean, they've got a decent tight end in Tyler Conklin. You know, of course, they've got Garrett Wilson at receiver. Alan Lazard is a guy. I mean, a jam. So is Mike Williams.
Just a Mordecai.
Yeah, he's just a Mordecai. Really, the cat's meow of this entire defense right now is Aaron Rodgers and Breece Hall, right? Aaron Rodgers, Breece Hall, and they've got some very decent interior defensive linemen. So Elijah Vera Tucker is a dog. They hit on this guy. I love Joe Tippmann at center. He's also a guy. And then they also bring it up together with John Simpson at left guard, who he's more of a jam, but he, you know, it's almost kind of like he plays off of people. It's kind of like Aaron Banks and Lincoln Tomlinson almost got cooler for some reason because Trent became on the team. Kind of that deal. So the crown jewel of what they do right now is their left tackle. So we got to be able to see exactly how that works. But right now, I just think that the left tackle is going to struggle. What I mean by that is he's old. I feel like Nick Bosa should be able to go off all day. I don't like their tackles. Morgan Moses and Tyron Smith are both guys that I have known for a long time. Tyron Smith, because Tyron Smith was, how can I put it? He was special. I remember him coming out of USC. He had that body as a freshman. Believe it or not, he just didn't have the weight yet. But he's older now. I don't think he's an adequate left tackle that should be able to put up against a young Nick Bosa. And honestly, Morgan Moses Morgan Moses played with Trent Williams back in the Washington days. A kid out of UVA, played with my little brother. And I've always been a fan of Morgan. But the league kind of fell into his skill set. He was always a softer player. And once the league got a little bit softer and it became a little bit more of a track meet, Morgan kind of survived. But when he first came into the league, he was struggling because the league was just way too physical for him. So I feel like a player like maybe Yetur Gross-Matos, somebody who's a little bit more physical, would be somebody that will find that start getting more reps if Coach Sorensen and Coach Kacirik are paying attention and saying like, hey, well, you know, Morgan almost kind of wants to dance with Leonard Floyd. He wants to, kind of get on his feet and move. He doesn't really want to be that physical. You get a Yetur Gross-Matos in there who really wants to mix it up, and he could break him because Morgan don't want to get physical. He don't want no smoke. So offensively, I think that we just have to be physical with them. I don't see really much on their offense, like Alan Lazard against Demo at slot, or if we put Yadam there. I don't see anybody. I'm just not scared of their secondary. Mike Williams, Alan Lazard. I mean, Garrett Wilson is a guy, but that's about it. Conklin at tight end. I don't see anything at tight end, honestly. And Brees
Williams,
Hall.
now, I do want to say, now Williams coming off of an injury, who knows what he is now, but he's a good player in this league. He's a good number 2. He's a good
not
number
bad
2 if he's healthy.
Yeah, Mike Williams is a dog, but Mike Williams off of an injury, I just don't see
we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, I also don't want to sell the chat short. You know, there is real threats on this team. And one question I still have as well, and I agree with mostly everything you said, but one question that I do have with the 49ers is, can they consistently stop the run? And Brees Hall is going to test that theory very, very early on in this season. Okay, we're going to know what this run defense is without Dre Greenlaw and potentially without Talanoa Hufanga as well. And I think both of them contribute well as far as the run defense goes. I'm curious to know what it looks like, because one thing I will say about Aaron Rodgers, we don't know how he's going to look coming off the major injury. This is his first full game with the Jets, assuming he makes it through, and I hope that he does for his sake. But one thing we do know about Aaron Rodgers is that no matter where he's at, whatever stage in his career, he's not going to just turn the ball over a lot in a season. So chances are you're going to get a team that is going to rely on the running game. Mm-hmm. They're not going to turn the ball over, and then they have a good defense to help them out. So if that is the case, and the 49ers struggle to stop Brees Hall, who's one of the premier running backs in this league, that can become an issue. I'm going to pick the 49ers here, most likely. And when we have behind enemy lines on Wednesday, you'll get the official prediction. I like a lot of the matchups here, but that's one that I'm curious to see. I'm not worried because I don't know how it's going to play out, but I am curious to see how the 49ers run defense holds up against Brees Hall. This is a real player here.
Yeah, I agree. And that's a good call out, because we're going to know right away exactly how they look against the run. And also against a very good interior offensive line. Their offensive line is really good. I mean, from the interior. But we'll be able to see if Aaron Rodgers is able to play pitch and catch on us all day, and it's one of these barn burners. You know what I don't want? What I don't want is it to be this. It's what I don't want is it to be like this like knockdown, drag them out game where it's like we get so caught up in the awe of like the last minute win by the Niners that they turned it into oh man, Aaron Rodgers must be back, man. That's what happens when Aaron Rodgers gets going. And it's kind of like the truth of the matter is, it's like, hey, dude, they suck. We should not have been struggling with these guys. Right. But I don't want the game to get caught up in. I don't want the theatrics of the game and that point get missed, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Niners Worldwide looks like he's got a fantasy football draft in an hour. I do as well. He has the number 1 pick, and he wants to know if he should go with CMC. If it's a PPR, I'm always going to go receiver, and I think Tyreek Hill would be the guy I go with. Listen, CeeDee Lamb missed all the offseason. Jefferson's playing with Sam Darnold, and we know that Tyreek Hill is going to eat over in Miami. So I would go with Tyreek Hill personally, but this is the reason you're the number 1 pick in the draft. So do with it what you think you should. Shady Luke says, aside from Trent, I'm sure there's times Saleh is going to line Williams up against Pooney. That's something else to watch. Yeah, I mean, this is a good point. We all love Pooney, but this is his first real action, and Quinnen Williams is not just another player in this league. He is one of the best interior players, if not the best interior player in the league going at this point. That's a real matchup.
So I have a question for you.
Pooney's good, but he hasn't seen Quinnen Williams yet. Go ahead.
That's true. From what you saw in one-on-ones during practice last year, how did Aaron Banks, did you see any Aaron Banks versus Javon Kinlaw on one-on-ones?
I'm sure I did. I really can't recall though. I don't want to go back and say how it went, because I really can't recall. But that's a good question. It's a really good question. Jay and Kumar says, Hawks fan coming back for Jesse's analysis and takes. Appreciate you. He says, hi to the Niner community. Going to my first NFL game this weekend, and I'm so pumped. Hope y'all are having a good week. Yes, absolutely, man. Thank you so much for showing love and support. And I hope you have a blast at the game this weekend. It is
opening day. It's going to be epic.
Yeah, it's dude, you're going to have, this is going to be a lot of memories made. So hopefully you're going with a good crowd. Enjoy it.
A good camera.
Enjoy it. Yeah, a good camera. Exactly. Yes. Remember everything you can with it. Very, very exciting. Enjoy your time. And thank you so much for the support, man. It really means a lot. And Brother Bob says we should pound Mason and the screen game with CMC and Debo. Win. I'm all about Mason getting as much as he can get in this game. I think that he also can play a big, big factor. We had other topics, but Coach, I also have a fantasy draft coming up. I'm the commissioner of the league as well, which means I got to get to it. As always, thank you so much for joining me on Monday. When we talk, well, shoot, we're probably, unless it's up to you. Normally we go on Mondays. The 49ers are playing football Monday. So if you want to do maybe an earlier show to kind of do a preview on your channel, we can. Otherwise, we'll table it until next Monday. But we will see each other on Thursday on your channel, which is
for the four-man
front. You, myself, Grant, and Ryan. So everybody tune in to Coach's channel, the Coach's Huddle. Us four will be there on Thursday. I will be back tomorrow with Sunil. Make sure you check out and tap in with the sponsor of the show, Underdog Fantasy. And until tomorrow, peace.